What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and today I have something really cool to show you that I've been testing with quite a lot. I had this idea a few weeks ago. I was waiting on a card for TCG Player because I thought I had one in bulk, and I didn't. I looked for a few videos on this, only saw one maybe in the past year that's existed to this, but I think it's a neat concept. This is, if you've seen by the title, of course, Visas Starfrost. I can't even say it. Visas Swordsoul or Starfrost Swordsoul or whatever you want to call it, Scareclaw Engine Swordsoul deal. Basically, I like it. You've seen me experiment with Cash Swordsoul, you've seen me experiment with Horus Swordsoul, and this is kind of the newest iteration that I've been slowly testing. I really do like it. I think it's unique. It has some better benefits, I think, than Horus, but also some drawbacks in terms of engine requirements. But it's overall just a unique concept. It acts as a better circle in a lot of ways. So we'll go ahead and just get started and show you the list, and then I'll show you how the combo works a little bit later in the video. So 40 card main deck. The other thing I like compared to the Horus stuff is you have more room to play with the tennies. Even though the engine is kind of about the same size, you have more ways to play with the tennies with how the two engines kind of synergize together. So Swordsoul stuff is fairly standard. Ratios are a little weird here and there, but overall more or less the same. 3 Ecclesia, 3 Moye, 3 Longwan, and then just 1 Taya, and no Chicken, no Chunjun. I know you guys know I'm a fan of that card. Not in this build, not right now. I think maybe if Gamma ever comes back, that card will be more relevant again in the deck. But 1 Taya is fine. Again, you got to find ways to cut space in here, and the engine does have a normal summon that goes with it. It's not needed depending on how you open it, but again, I don't want to clog on too many normal summons, so it's more like the idea of not counting Ecclesia, of course, because usually you could special it, but 3 Moye, 1 Taya, and then one of the normal summon for the engine later makes 5 normals. So, and then rounding out the engine, of course, 3 Emergence and 1 Blackout. Pretty straightforward for the main Swordsoul stuff. And then for the tennies, the nice thing about here is you can still run a full tenny suite. And I think this really just pushes a lot in the current format. You have 3 Ashuna, 3 Vashuda, 3 Adhara, and then just, of course, the 1 Shathana. There is 1 circle in here later into that I'll get to. I still liked playing the 1 of for the versatility because we play so many tennies, and the fact that, like, again, even without circle, the way this build plays is sometimes the 1 Shathana comes up. I just really like the card and want to keep it included. So that's it for both the tennies and the Swordsoul things. For the Visas engine, 3 Starfrost. You'll see this as similar to, I guess, even the idea of like when this was popular in Dinos for a minute. But the engine is 3 Starfrost and then 1 Rykart, 1 Planet, and 1 Arrival. That's it. Just 6 cards. The theory behind how this works is your normal summon, your Moye, or your main piece, right, that you get to through Taya, whatever, that main normal summon gets negated. You're just left with a dead body, and all your tennies are off now. What can you do? And this is a way to do that, popping it with Starfrost and then being able to climb and do some other things. Yes, if you do a Shuna, tenny will lock you, and there is a way to kind of get around that, quote unquote, if you have enough names in hand that I'll kind of showcase a little bit later. But I'll talk about how this engine plays in the combo later. You do have to understand that this is different than Circle, where it like lets you play through a Moye getting impermed, but you have to accept that the Moye is going to get impermed. It's just the Moye is now the tool to facilitate the next engine rather than dodging it and making a worse Chi-Jiao with Shathana. So and then for the non-engine, there's a good amount of space. You can cut different things here. 3 Imperm, 3 Droll. These are my 2 of choice right now based on my local meta. You could play Nib as well for Fiendsmith, of course. And then a few 1-ofs here. This could be other hand traps, but I just like this ratio, even though it's kind of weird. 1 Talent, 1 Thrust, 1 Circle, and 1 Called By. Again, the name of the game with this deck is playing through hand traps, and these all kind of let you do that. There's too many 1-ofs in here to play Desires, so we're not doing that. You could obviously just play 2 hand traps, 2 talents, or just 3 other hand traps like 3 Nib and a Called By. But I just like the versatility of these. All of these at 1, just seeing one of them are always going to be live. You're not going to open multiples. It's not going to be dead. Just, I think, a really, really good suite there. So for the extra deck, I'll talk about first what the Visas package requires in the extra. It's a little bit, but it's not too heavy that you can't deal with it. And it can be changed depending on how you want to use stuff to climb. So 1 Apo, 1 Cross Sheep, 1 SP, 1 Lightheart, and 1 Vicious Astrolaud. That's pretty much it. Just the 5 slots at the bare minimum is what you do to basically climb into. Essentially, you're doing an Apo plus an SP is kind of the main way you could go. There's other things you can do. Unfortunately, you're never going to have 2 non-effect monsters, so it has to be SP over IP. But again, you could, if you don't want to pay out for SP, play Silo Hat Rabbit, throw in a trap. You know, you have some of those 4 extra little non-engine spaces in there, and you'd be good to go with that too. That'd be just as powerful. Apo plus the Rabbit is still also a really good line. So, and then one card I wanted to talk about very briefly that goes along with this engine is One Land for Linkus. You know, I've been a big fan of this since the Horus stuff, being able to move stuff into that engine and then just play crazy like with Tennies. That's not as relevant here. You could do that. I think the card I've been back and forth between this and 2 other slots that I'll show, I guess, on screen here and here is Link Spider and Dragite. The main reason being is Chi-Jiao and Apo are both monster negates. Chi-Jiao gets blackout, so it's kind of hard to not want to do that, or long one for additional extension. But your board is a little like one trick in that sense, where you have too many of negates of the same thing, which may not be bad depending on the format, right? But Dragite is an option here. Link Spider is an option here as well, especially if you get Nibiru'd. You cannot, even if you can make this, you can't use Vicious Visa Starfrost on this or the Nib token because they're light. It needs to be both different type and attribute. So Link Spider here might be also a good way to go. So that's it for the Visa stuff. The Land for Linkus is kind of an honorable mention. Just either way, I've just become a big fan of that card in Swordsoul variants that just aren't pure. So I like to include that. And then, of course, the rest of the stuff for Swordsoul, 2 monks for the Tenyi stuff, and then the synchros, you know, 1 Changing, 1 Sinister Sovereign, 2 Chi-Jiao, 1 Baxia, again, trying to find room for space, and then 1 Draco Berserker and 1 Yazi. That's pretty much it. Like I said, Dragite's probably the only thing you might want to make room for. Maybe you want a second Baxia, however you want to do it, right? But that's the idea. That's the main and the extra. Clean 40 cards. I'll go ahead and showcase kind of what a quick combo looks like, which essentially just requires, I'll set it out here just so I have it, is... There we go. Whatever normal summon you're going to want to have that gets impermed, whether it's Moye, and then I'll zoom out just a bit. There might be some stuff in the way. That is the absolute wrong way. There we go. And we'll slide this over just a bit, and then we'll move this back in just a hair. Okay. So basically, whatever your normal summon is, right, that's going to be Moye, and then it's going to take just 1 Visas. That's really how you do the whole thing. These are just the combo pieces that you're going to search. I'm going to set them off to the side here, but you go through the whole engine, the 1, 1, and 1. This also can work if, say, you have full combo, right, for Swordsoul, and you go uninterrupted. If you have an extra spare name like a Tenyi, plus like maybe the long one for a reveal for Moye, or even just an additional Tenyi. The other really nice thing is if you know your opponent isn't playing Nib or you want to try play greedy, you can just special this, normal Moye, reveal long one, do the full Swordsoul combo. You're not locked. Use Visas to pop that spare Tenyi you left on the field, and then do that on top of that. So then you have like Chi-Jiao plus whatever rank or Synchro 10 of choice that you want, and then the SP and the Apo as a whole board, which is actually kind of crazy. So with all that said, though, I'll go ahead and just get into the quick combo. So you would normal Moye, you reveal something, doesn't matter what. This gets impermed, and then we'll move this out of the way just to make things a little less confusing. The Moye gets impermed, use Visas, pop this, summon the Visas, and then you go ahead and I'm trying to think about inverse stuff for graveyards for people here. I'm going to make the graveyard here. I know it's not exactly where it's supposed to be for zones, but just so you all know. And then the Moye will also be in grave. I think that will matter. So we'll leave those 2 there. And then you'll go ahead, link the Visas off into the copy of Scareclaw Lightheart. Again, zones are a little weird because I'm not zoomed out as much as I want to be, but it's okay. So we'll have the Lightheart. Lightheart will go ahead and search the planet. The planet will then be activated, and then you go ahead and search the Scareclaw. Special the Scareclaw, and you search the Arrival. You'll go ahead and use the Arrival to bring back the Visa Starfrost. And then from here, you go ahead and link the Scareclaw and the Lightheart away into a copy of Cross Sheep. Go ahead and grab that. And then we'll go ahead and then, sorry, I linked the wrong one. I already messed it up. Link the Lightheart and the Rykard. Visas has to stay on the field. Main reason being is the Lightheart comes back, can reborn itself once per duel while the Visas still on the field. So you do that. And then these two will also get linked off for SP. And then the SP also matters here because you're always making it with a link monster. So then you can banish, like, say, the Nibiru if you did get Nibiru and are doing this after that, right? And then from here, what you can do is you can go ahead and banish the two, Scareclaw, Rykart, and the Visas. Put those up here. And you can make the Vicious Astrolaud. So we'll go ahead and summon that. And then Cross Sheep, because it was summoned to a zone it points to, will trigger, bringing back a level 4 or lower. That's the only caveat. This part like works better with obviously these or Adhara or Ecclesia, right? But you know, you get the idea. It just has to be a level 4 or lower. I believe for Cross Sheep, I could be going crazy, but yeah, level 4 or lower. So then from here, what you do is you just link 1, 2, 3, 4, all 3 away. Those go away. And then you just make an Apollosa for 3. So that's not too shabby, right? Over a Nib or an Impermed Moye, you have an SP plus an Apo for 3, which is really good. And like I said, if you had a spare Tenny, a spare body in hand, then you could just use that, and then you still do your normal Swordsoul combo, and then you have just the Chijiao plus Long Wand and maybe even Blackout, right? Depending on your hand. So that's the idea of how this works. I hope you guys liked it. This is Visas Swordsoul, something different, again, to experiment with while we are still somehow in banlist limbo on what, August 25th? Jesus Christ. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Next week, probably RDA coming. Just got some stuff in the mail, still testing it. Got to figure some things out. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Later.